Drake and Josh get into a lot of crazy situations together over the course of the series, from impersonating a surgeon at a hospital to scamming people out of money playing pool, and even facing off with a dangerous criminal on the FBI's most wanted list. But in its final season, a handful of episodes tried something a little different. Instead of giving us an insane plot like we're used to seeing, the writers decided to keep Drake and Josh stuck together somewhere for the majority of the episode, relying solely on the chemistry of the two brothers as a comedic duo, rather than the plot to carry the episode. The main examples I'm referring to are Treehouse, Helicopter, The Wedding, and Vicious Tiberius, which all aired in season 4. And personally, I'm a big fan of these episodes since to me, they demonstrate why the show works so well at its core. And today we're going to be taking a look at Vicious Tiberius, the episode that made me terrified of Rottweilers when I was a child. And since it's been 19 years since this episode premiered, and all dogs go to heaven, I know that Tiberius can't hurt me anymore. R.I.P. Tiberius. So I'm ready to face my fears just for you guys. I got my big boy panties on and I'm ready to rumble. And as always, if you like this video, go ahead and maybe give me a big fat juicy like and subscribe. I may just release my sexy photo shoot holiday calendar from college to the public if you do. And if you have any other childhood faves you'd like me to cover, let me know down in the comments. I read every comment and try to always cover the stuff you guys want to see most, including this episode, which has been requested several times. Alright, let's dive in. In the cold open, Drake and Josh recall the time when Josh donated blood, but it was the nurse's first day on the job, and she passed out at the sight of blood, ripping the tube out of Josh's arm, causing his vein to spurt blood everywhere. And if I'm being picky right off the bat here, veins don't spurt blood. Arteries do, not veins. So that wouldn't have happened at all. Also, Josh is weird for keeping the bloody shirt as a souvenir. But a really funny detail here is that Josh is at school while telling the story, but Drake is seen chilling at home, implying that he's just casually cutting class. Later in class, Miss Hafer is about to crash out right before class ends because she tries to make a joke and the students just aren't amused by it. On their way out, Josh hands in his current events essay, and Drake hands in the daily newspaper with his name on it in crown. I love that he couldn't even find a pen. I love that he used a crown. That's fantastic. Miss Hafer gives Drake an F and says she hates him.
And guess what else?
What?
I hate you.
I know.
Then pauses to take a phone call, and turns out it was her house sitter calling to bail on her last minute.
I'm not angry. It's fine. I said I'm not angry. Goodbye.
Without hesitation, Josh volunteers to step in as house sitter, which includes taking care of Miss Hafer's plants and her dog. So that's not really a house sitter at that point, that's a dog sitter, right? Before the boys head out, Mrs. H asks Drake for some respect in the future, and he responds by telling her she has a booger hanging loose. She tries to assault Drake, and Josh restrains her. And honestly, Josh might have just saved her job. Assaulting an underage student on school grounds seems like a fired and straight to jail kind of mess up to me. Later, Walter is having a new elliptical machine set up in the middle of the fucking living room, might I add, when Drake and Josh come downstairs and clown on him for wanting to be healthier and get in shape.
I'm competing in Channel 7's annual 5K fun run.
Again? But doesn't that other weatherman always beat you? What's his name? Bruce Winchell.
I told you never to mention his name in this house.
And the rival weatherman Bruce Winchell was also mentioned during Theater Thug when Megan admitted that she and her mom watch his weather coverage instead of Walter's.
You told me Megan always watches the weather.
Oh, she does. On Channel 12.
Bruce Winchell?
And personally, I love that his last name sounds like Windchill. I think it's a funny weather joke, and I love a good off-screen enemy.
Winchell. Winchell. Winchell.
Walter tells Josh to pick up Megan from oboe practice on his way home from Miss Hafer's house, and before Josh leaves, Drake says he's gonna ride along with him because the cheerleaders practice outside today, and he wants to drive by them all slowly. Josh agrees, and they both head out. I'm hard-pressed to believe Drake was willing to do chores at Miss Hafer's house just to stare at some cheerleaders for a few seconds. Bro could just go to the premiere and make out with any random girl like he does in every other episode. Why is he window shopping when he could have the fire sale? The boys make it to Miss Hafer's house, and Drake starts to snoop through Mrs. Hafer's stuff and finds an old picture of her being crowned Miss New Jersey.
Miss New Jersey, 1976?
That's Mrs. Hafer.
That's Mrs. Hafer? There's a New Jersey?
Classic Drake quote, and any New Jersey joke brings endless joy to my heart. Drake keeps snooping around and finds a DVD of Miss Hafer attempting to do stand-up comedy. And she is equally unfunny and unsuccessful in front of a real crowd as she was in front of the classroom. As they're watching the DVD, the dog, Tiberius, runs into the room and barks at the boys. And to be honest, Tiberius would be an absolutely terrible guard dog. Bro took like 10 minutes to come out and investigate the foreign people in his home that he doesn't even recognize. Josh reads a note from Miss Hafer and sees that Tiberius needs dinner and his ear medicine. And I gotta also point out that Tiberius sits there calmly while they're reading the note. So, without letting the dog sniff them or get used to them, the boys decide to gang up on him to try to hold him down and give him his ear medicine. What? I thought Josh said he was good with dogs.
Well, I'm great with dogs and plants. When I was little, I had a poodle and a fern. I named them both Jerry.
Why would you not feed him first to earn his trust? Dogs don't even like getting medicine from their owners, let alone a complete stranger. Of course, Tiberius barks, scaring the boys and causing them to run, which then naturally activates the dog's chase instincts, and the boys run for their goddamn lives into the bathroom and lock themselves in. After a minute, the barking stops, so Josh tells Drake to peek outside and check to see if the coast is clear. And for some reason, I feel like this dialogue feels almost swapped. Like Drake's line sounds like it should be Josh's line, and Josh's line sounds like it should be Drake's line.
You just turn it.
I know how to work a knob.
So Drake inches the door open and peeks outside and says the dog is gone. They're about to make a break for it when the dog suddenly appears in front of the door, blocking them in and barking at them again. Okay, so this dog just straight up teleported. I see why they're afraid now. Josh says he's gonna call his dad for help. Why not call Mrs. Hafer? Why not ask her how to calm the dog down? Surely, if anyone has advice on how to handle Tiberius, it would be her, right? But Walter is too busy working out while listening to Drake Bell's hit song, Highway to Nowhere, on his Geo. Absolutely amazing scene. I don't think this song was even ever released by Drake Parker in universe. In fact, it's featured as a Drake Bell song on the Zoe 101 episode Spring Fling, so does Walter just think the singer Drake Bell sounds exactly like his stepson? What are the implications here, bro? Drake tries to pull the phone out of Josh's hands and it ends up flying into the toilet.
It's your fault. Go get it. I'm not putting my hand in there. That's where Mrs. Hafer pees. Probably doesn't even work anymore.
Yeah, well, let's see.
And Drake realizes he put down his phone when he was snooping through Miss Hafer's shit. Josh convinces Drake to run out there, grab his phone, and run back to the bathroom to get them both help. And things don't go as planned.
Open the door on 3. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
And again, the roles feel almost swapped here to me. Normally, Drake would be the one convincing Josh to do the unpleasant or scary thing. They try again, and this time Drake makes a break for it and pulls off some sick parkour to get his phone. And honestly, Tiberius was straight up chillin'. If Drake didn't run into the room like a madman jumping all around, I think the dog would have just stayed asleep and left him alone. But, of course, Drake lures the dog into chasing him around the house again. He runs back to the bathroom and gives Josh a concussion while bursting in. And why? Was Josh listening in as if he had to remain hidden from view? Couldn't he have just been looking through the crack in the door? But unfortunately, Drake actually dropped his phone while running, and the boys opened the door to see Tiberius literally chomping the shit out of the phone. I don't think Tiberius should be ingesting metal phone parts. It's now been an hour since the boys first got to their teacher's house, and they're still stuck in the bathroom. Drake blames Josh for volunteering to help in the first place. Drake, buddy, you didn't have to tag along with him. When the boys hear Megan calling their name, they open the door and find Megan and Tiberius vibing out to the max. And honestly, Tiberius and Megan getting along just makes sense.
Evil dog, evil girl. Makes perfect sense.
But actually, besides just the evil thing, the writers are pretty consistent in having Megan be an animal lover on the show. She has a pet hamster. She secretly adopts a sheep. There's a clip of her holding a bunny in the theme song. And she is the one who saves Bobo the monkey ultimately. By the way, if they were supposed to pick her up from oboe practice, how did Megan even get here? You're telling me she left oboe practice on foot when they failed to pick her up and then decided to walk here to check on them instead of just walking home? Why? The boys complain to Megan that the dog goes berserk when she's not around. So she ditches them and dips out of there. And of course, Tiberius starts barking again instantly. He chases them around till they retreat back to the bathroom again, and another half hour passes before Josh really needs to use the bathroom. But he can't because he has stage fright. Straight up, I had this happen to me at least once last week in a public bathroom, so I feel for Josh on this one. The boys hear an animal control guy outside, so they open the bathroom door to greet him.
Yeah, we got a call from one of the neighbors. Said she had heard loud barking and girls screaming all night long. Are you the screaming girls?
And I gotta point out, Tiberius has only been shown barking when he sees Drake and Josh in front of him, which is not very often. They've spent a majority of time locked inside the bathroom, with no barking. So how could a neighbor in an entirely different house have heard him barking enough to call animal control? The animal control guy reassures the boys that he's been doing this for 11 years and says there's no dog he can't handle. Just then, Tiberius comes up out of nowhere and barks at everyone, causing the animal control guy to sprint into the bathroom. And Drake and Josh follow closely behind. Why don't they just run out the front door? It's the same distance away as the bathroom at this point. Drake and Josh clown on the animal control guy for being a pussy, and he says he's never seen a dog as scary as that one before.
I've never seen anything this scary. And I fought in Nam.
Nam?
You know, Vietnam.
Where's that? New Jersey?
Okay, so bro is really claiming the dog is scarier than fighting in Nam. Yeah, I don't see it. So Drake and Josh have finally had enough and decide to make a break for it. And this time, Josh actually gets the on 3 correct.
1, 2, 3.
The boys run around like lunatics and Josh successfully makes it to the door. Drake also has a clear shot for the door, but instead chooses to jump on the ceiling fan? And he just starts dangling around while Tiberius chomps at his feet. Josh runs back inside and heads to the kitchen.
No, this is no time for snacking!
He finds a giant-ass slab of meat, opens the front window, and throws the meat out, triggering the dog to follow it and jump out the window. 2 issues here. 1, Josh just effectively threw out Miss Hafer's beloved pet. 2, Josh tricked the dog into running into Miss Hafer's front yard. You know, the same front yard they have to walk through to escape the house? Josh helps Drake get down from the ceiling fan, even though he could have safely and easily just dropped to the floor. And just as the boys start to celebrate, Tiberius shows back up at the front door, so the boys dive out the window without hesitation. No one ever closes the front door or the front window of Miss Hafer's house. She's gonna be robbed blind. Now Josh has effectively failed at house sitting just as badly as he has at dog sitting. Back at Drake and Josh's house, the boys sprint through their front door, and this shit's funny as hell because it seems like they sprinted all the way home. But Drake and Josh actually drove there, so either they abandoned their car to run home, which is slower and makes no sense, or they drove home and then decided to sprint from their driveway to their house for funsies, I guess? Okay. But Drake and Josh can't seem to find Walter, and it turns out he decided to head over to Miss Hafer's house to check on them. He finds the animal control guy in the bathroom, then searches around for them a little bit more when Tiberius appears out of nowhere. Could the animal control guy not have warned him about the situation? It's kind of a dick move, bro. Tiberius then chases Walter, who runs off screaming, and I gotta say, like father, like son. Cut back to Drake on the sofa when Walter runs through their home with Tiberius hot on his tail. Josh comes back from getting the Mocha-Cola, and Drake just asks him if there's an Old Hampshire, and that's that. The episode ends, and quite frankly, the issue is unresolved. There is still a maniac killer dog on the loose, and nothing has been done to tame him or control him in any way. And frankly, this is similar to the ending of Treehouse, which ends with the credits already beginning to roll while Drake and Josh are still inside the treehouse. Almost nothing gets resolved. And realistically, the boys should be screwed after the events of this episode. Let's actually stop and think for a second. The dog was never successfully given its medicine. Miss Hafer's home was left wide open for any burglar to have easy access. The animal control guy never goes home and may still be sitting on that toilet to this very day. And poor Walter is still running for his life, being chased by Tiberius, presumably about to suffer a gruesome, violent death. Something tells me Josh didn't win any brownie points with his teacher like he was hoping for. And all things considered, this might be my least favorite Stuck episode out of all the ones I've reviewed so far. Helicopter and Treehouse are both amazing, while I felt Vicious Tiberius was just great. I hold Drake and Josh to a bit of a higher standard than other shows and expect a lot from it. So I still enjoyed this episode. It's just not my absolute favorite of all time. But enough of me yapping. What do you guys think of Vicious Tiberius? Do you remember this one from back in the day? Or did you miss this one growing up? Let me know in the comments, and let's kick it. If you watched this far, please consider subscribing and checking out some other videos. And as always, I have to give a nasty, erotic, sticky shout out to the Patreon and channel members. This haiku will explain what happened to me last night. My father said no, but I took a sneaky peek, grounded for 10 days. I always try to find a new way to show my appreciation for you all, but I'm usually at a loss for words, so just thank you, truly. If you're still here, damn, that's lit. But what's not lit is there's definitely a light bulb that's about to burn out in your home. Stay prepared to stay out of the dark. All right, thanks for listening.